Let's have a look. I've got it on my phone. I've cherished it on my phone. So I can read it with my reading glasses on. Okay. Who inspired me to take up MMA and also in life? So the one of the biggest influence for me in terms of martial arts was my dad. My dad was a very good boxer. Came over from Dublin, boxed from when he was 11 years old, brought me up in that environment all the while. So I very rarely got spanked or anything when I was younger. I normally got told to raise my hands and then left hooked or left jabbed. So my dad would be my first one. Then probably seeing Bruce Lee in the movies, Fist of Fury, Enter the Dragon, because today everybody's used to seeing the Bourne Identity, Jackie Chan's career, Jet Li's career, yada yada yada. When I first saw Fist of Fury, everything that was being made at the time was Chinese and Japanese people skimming through the air and killing 50 people as they went. So it was really like weird stuff to watch. So I remember seeing the Fist of Fury, and all of a sudden this guy's like, destroying 20 men in a room, using nunchaka for the first time. Although they were about in Okinawan karate, they weren't as obvious to normal people. And again, no full-time academies, no internet, no way of talking to people. No way of searching something up on Google. If you later on you got taught an armbar, you got taught it by your instructor, and maybe he said this is a couple of variations. Nowadays, if you want an armbar, go online. You can get one from every single Brazilian and every American that's come after them, and every sambo guy, and so on and so forth. So Bruce Lee, 100% massive inspiration to me, because he suddenly made a lot of the stuff that I was looking at make more sense to me in real time. In terms of MMA, then probably as a start. Now, bearing in mind, if we go back to the early 90s, before UFC had started, MMA wasn't known as that. JKD was the original MMA. JKD, 4 Ranges of Combat. I put something up on social media the other day talking about how Bruce Lee was the forerunner. If you look at the very open fighting scene in Enter the Dragon, Sammo Hung taps to him. Okay, so for you guys who've all training now, you go, okay, he tapped. Okay, what the hell did that mean to me in 1974 when I saw it? I went, I don't know what he's doing that for. Became obvious later. So in terms of that as a forerunner, but because of the philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, not MMA, Jeet Kune Do was only ever meant as a self-protection art, hence the finger jabs, hence the close-in fighting, the hair pulls, the eye strikes, the groin strikes, and all those other things. It wasn't meant to be MMA. It's just exactly the way that we teach it now. It's just the fact that we use the attributes of sports, which is what Bruce Lee did, in terms of his Wing Chun as his base, Savat, Muay Thai later on, Chinar, all the different Chinese martial arts. He pulled on anything, Western boxing, and so on and so forth. So in terms of Lee, Jeet Kune Do, number one. In terms of MMA, the influence of Bruce Lee, and then the biggest influence on me in terms of martial arts is Rick Young in Scotland, Sifu Rick Young, Guru Rick Young, Professor Rick Young, 100% the number one influence for me in martial arts. And through that lineage, I met Eric Paulson in, I think it was about 1993, something like that. That'd be even before before Matty was training with me, I think. So in 1993, around that time, Paulson was fighting out of the Inosanto Academy as a Shuto fighter. He'd been to Japan and all this stuff. So what was the difference? So Rick Young for me was I was very JKD orientated, Carly, etc., etc. And then, but Rick's 5'7", very powerful, very dynamic. But a lot of the stuff I'd look at and go, okay, how does that apply? When I met Eric, all of a sudden there's this guy who was roughly the same size as me, and he was doing stuff that was amazing and was simplified. So you got the elements of Carly where you're doing takedowns and they require, a good set of skills to do it. And then all of a sudden, Paulson's saying, boom, hit the arm bar like this, hit the triangle like this, push and pull the hands like this. So definitely Eric, in the fact that he just seemed to be able to simplify it and dynamically do what he was saying he could do. I met Marco Huas, trained under Marco Huas. For those who don't know, he was a UFC fighter back in the early UFCs. Yeah. I trained under him. He was very dynamic, but I didn't get a connection with him. He wasn't something that I was looking for at the time, and he didn't develop that way. And then later on, for me, I was thinking if I move away from Braulio Estima, so I met Mauricio Gomez, who's Roger Gracie's dad. He brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the UK, so obviously I met Roger. I had Roger into the old academies for seminars, Mauricio for seminars, met Braulio Estima there. Braulio was 19 at the time, long, thin body with a big smile, came in, threw his T-shirts down. Hello, my friend, can I sell my T-shirts? I don't know what kind of accent that was terrible. Threw the T-shirts on the floor and then got into Professor Gomez said to me, can they join in? I went, absolutely. And there was Braulio was there, Barry Foley was there, a guy called Andy Roberts was there, and I think a woman called Rachel. So we were doing the thing in BJJ where you kind of specific sparring, so you line up against the wall. There's people set there that you go into the guard. So I went in with Andy Roberts. We had Andy Roberts and Barry Foley had just got the blue belts at the time, I think. Had a right tussle with Andy. I thought it was fairly equal. Went with Barry Foley. Barry's a really nice guy. I don't think he trains anymore, but a really nice guy. I had a real spar with him. Moved along to Braulio. So it is very disarming because he just got this huge smile on his face and he just slapped hands, dapped. Are you ready, my friend? God, that's what it felt like. 7 times, I think. 7 times he either swept me or he'd go to me. He'd go, why do you do this? Put your foot there. So I go, oh, thank you. Put my foot there, and he'd sweep me another way. So he just completely ripped it out of me for 5 minutes, resulting in me being snap choked by the gi. And if you guys have ever been choked by a gi, what kind of happens to your mind is if my eyes are focused now on you imagine this, my eyes are focused, so I'm here by the camera. So everything is like this to me. And then as your mind kind of comes round, everything's like that. Everything seems to have just shot into your face. It didn't quite put me out. And I'm kind of lying on the floor shaking a little bit like this, but it feels like you're going like that. Anyway, suffice to say, for me, I went straight over to Professor Mauricio and I said, how do I learn to do this? At the time I was training with my brother. My brother hated it. My brother didn't want to do it. And my brother had very fixed ideas on what a martial artist should be. So he kind of went, nah, don't want the gi. Actually, no, I'll tell a lie. I wasn't training with my brother. Me and my brother had trained under Roger up in Edinburgh at the Guru Dance Seminar, where we also, talking about influences, trained with Sifu Larry Hartzell, one of the original JKD people. So in terms of influences for that, if you're talking about building my whole game of martial arts, then it's the lineage that I've got. And I made a decision at one point. I had the opportunity. I toured the UK with Tommy Thompson, my boxing coach, and we were going to other martial arts clubs. So I saw a massive. I went all over the UK with Rick Young to seminars with him. So I saw lots of different martial arts, but I never really found anywhere where I thought, oh, I'd rather be here. But I've seen some phenomenal martial artists. Some of the modern day guys now that are involved with CSW, Dave Lee, for example, from Watford, one of the first UFC fighters in the UK, and not only he's part of the CSW family. If Dave comes up, I always have a little roll with Dave, and we have a great roll together, just exchanging and moving and whatever. So there's, the guy's not passing, but different people are coming through now with different ideas. But for me, originally, my dad, Bruce Lee, Rick Young, 100%. Inspiration, Guru Dan. Got Rick Young, 100%. Coach Eric Paulson, Sensei Eric Paulson, 100%. Tommy, for me, because Tommy has nothing to do. Tommy, as a boxing coach, has nothing to do with martial arts. He's like, oh, I don't care. I'm not calling you sir. You know what I mean? I'm not bowing to you or anything like that. You know what I mean? And he slaughtered, the first few years I was with him, he slaughtered me, man. The stuff he would, you guys are used to being on the mat, yes, and we're quite, oh, you're doing a really good job there, Tomo. Tie your shoelaces, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start over again. No, I threw a right hand in one of Tommy's, in the ring with Tommy one day. I threw a right hand, and he looked at me and he went, "What was that?" And it wasn't as good as the Enter the Dragon version. He went, "What was that?" And I went, "Right across." And he went, "Really?" He said, "I could have gone home. Excuse this is not for little ears, James, but I'm going to say, so I could have gone home, had a shit, a shower and a shave, and got back by the time that landed." And it was just, it was, at first I was like, whoa. And then, you know what it taught me to do? Just let go. Just let go of everything. Because Tommy's level of boxing was so in-depth, so detailed, that trying to filter that through my, oops a daisy. Sorry, guys. Have I lost you? Let me get you back. Why can't I get on it? 1 second. Sorry, my internet connections and stuff. Why won't it let me back in again? Let's see. There you are. What happened? So I think I'm going to run out of time in a little bit. So I'm going to run through some of the other questions. Did that answer your question, Tomo?